They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlyn Clark got here, and y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlyn Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
Stephen A. Smith has officially had enough. After weeks of tension in the WNBA, the ESPN legend has unleashed a brutal rant that put Angel Reese in her place, and the internet can't stop talking. From Caitlyn Clark's rise to Reese's latest controversial stunt, this explosive showdown is shaking women's basketball to its core. Tonight, we break down what Stephen A. said, why Angel Reese is under fire, and what this means for the future of the WNBA.
Find out what the rest of the WNBA is going to do in terms of popularity. Yep. You've been saying up and down that, whether tacitly or directly, that, she's getting too much shine, even though we respect and what have you. We deserve our shine. Well, now's a perfect opportunity for you to prove that. If not, acknowledge her impact on the financial aspects that she brings to the table, adopt the mentality that a rising tide lifts all boats, and learn to have an elevated level of appreciation for what she has brought to the game and assist her in making the league even more profitable.
Let's start with the obvious. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a rookie. She's the face of the WNBA revolution. Her debut drew 2.7 million viewers, the most watched WNBA game in ESPN history. Indiana Fever games with Clark average over 1 million viewers. Without her, barely 394,000. She's single-handedly boosting ticket sales, moving games to bigger arenas, and selling out merch like no one before her.
But you have to be cognizant that no matter how you step out of your house, you are now Angel Reese. And you will always be picked apart, unfortunately.
She knows this social media. She is not dumb. She's quite a brilliant young lady. She's very smart, very accomplished. And on top of it all, she is in this age where she does know social media exists. And she has exploited it to her advantage. And so when you take that into consideration, that means you're mindful of the imagery and the perception that you're assisting in creating about yourself.
But here's where the tension starts. Instead of celebrating the exposure Clark brought, some players, including Angel Reese, began to resent the spotlight. Reese, already famous from her LSU days and her viral showdown with Clark in the NCAA finals, wasn't about to play second fiddle. Critics argue she's been more focused on branding and social media than refining her game. And her latest stunt? Faking a back injury during media drama. A move that sparked outrage across the basketball world.
Unfortunately, though, the celebration in the WNBA, it was cut short yesterday afternoon as WNBA players learned the harsh lesson, be careful what you wish for. Headline at the New York Post. Caitlyn Clark sidelined with Indiana Felines announcing shock injury. Keyword, shock. This injury was shocking, but not for reasons that you may think.
And then came Stephen A. Smith, the man who never holds back. This time, he didn't just criticize, he detonated. He ripped the league for failing Caitlyn Clark, ripped the refs for not protecting her, and yes, he called out Angel Reese for playing the victim instead of playing ball. Quote, grow up. Stop resenting Caitlyn Clark and acknowledge what she represents. Money, relevance, and attention for the WNBA.
Fanatics also reported a 100% increase in sales for WNBA-specific merchandise. It started with Caitlyn Clark. And so now that we know all of this, and we've known that for months, now we get to turn around and look and see what exactly is it that the league will do.
Smith backed his words with receipts. Indiana Fever averaged 17,000 fans at home with Clark. On the road, 15,000, forcing teams to move games to larger venues. Attendance league-wide, up nearly 50%. This isn't hype, it's fact. And yet, Angel Reese and others still insist Clark is overrated. As Stephen A. put it bluntly, maybe people don't tune in for a walking turnover who spends more time on Instagram than improving her game.
Thanks to Clark, Indiana led the league in attendance both at home and on the road. The Fever averaged 17,035 fans at home and over 15,000 on the road. 4 teams moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. That's about Caitlyn Clark. How do we know this? Attendance for the entire league was up nearly 50% last year. According to data from across the timeline, and Indiana led all teams with an average attendance of 17,035. That was up 319% from the year earlier.
Of course, Reese didn't stay quiet. Her loyal fans defended her on social media, pointing to her college dominance and branding success. But the backlash was louder. Critics accused her of jealousy, of sabotaging her own career, and of dragging the league into petty drama just as it was finally breaking through. Even WNBA legends like Cheryl Swoops and Sue Bird have hinted at frustration with Reese's behavior.
Find out. We don't know yet, but I'm going to be really, really interested in seeing, Molly, what kind of effect this has on the WNBA's ratings. Because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is valid.
But this isn't just about Reese. Stephen A. turned his fire on the league itself, blasting Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and WNBA executives for fumbling Caitlyn Clark's rise. Instead of building around their star, protecting her, and using her as the face of a new era, they downplayed her significance. As Smith put it, the WNBA stumbled into a once-in-a-generation star and wasted the opportunity with incompetence.
About Caitlyn, if you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlyn should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
At the heart of this chaos is a rivalry that's as real as it gets. Clark and Reese aren't just opponents on the court. They represent 2 different visions of the league. Clark, disciplined, generational talent, ratings magnet. Reese, polarizing, controversial, brand first. Together, they fuel headlines, but as Stephen A. warns, if Reese keeps up her antics, this rivalry could collapse into bitterness instead of history.
Notice when you're asking about Caitlyn a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one.
So, what happens now? Caitlyn Clark is sidelined with injury. The league is desperate to maintain momentum, and Angel Reese stands at a crossroads. Will she use this moment to prove herself on the court? Or will she double down on the drama? Stephen A. Smith made his verdict clear. Reese isn't Caitlyn Clark. And unless she changes course, she never will be.
And the first rookie with at least 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in a playoff game. That was Caitlyn Clark. Became the 4th different rookie to play all 40 minutes in a playoff game. That was her. I'm looking at other things. 6 different league television partners. This is last year. This is last season, because this is the Caitlyn Clark that we're talking about. 6 different league television partners set viewership records that year, her rookie year, for its highest viewed WNBA game. Do you know every one of those games, including the Indiana Fever?
One thing is undeniable. Caitlyn Clark has changed women's basketball forever. And as long as Angel Reese keeps chasing headlines instead of buckets, the gap between them will only grow. The question now isn't whether Reese can catch Clark, it's whether she can even survive in a league Clark already owns.
Tide lifts all boats. And if this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence over the next 2 weeks to that court due to that quad strain is providing further evidence of that, then everybody needs to accept it, stand down, and ride that wave. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the ratings are going to look without her over the next 2 weeks. Let's make sure we come back and ask me this exact same question after she's been gone for those 2 weeks.
A booming star, a locker room blow-up, and one of sports' loudest voices going nuclear on live TV. Tonight, Stephen A. Smith tears into Angel Reese, and the WNBA's reputation hangs in the balance. Stick with us. By the end of this video, you'll hear the uncut timeline, see the receipts, and understand what's at stake for the league.
Know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlyn Clark got here. And y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlyn Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is grow.
Before we get into the feud, you need the scoreboard. Caitlyn Clark's arrival transformed the WNBA into must-see TV. Record TV numbers, packed arenas, sponsors knocking. She's a bona fide magnet. When your entire league suddenly looks more valuable, every camera, sponsor, and executive notices. That success rewired expectations, and it set the stage for friction.
I think Stephen A is 100% correct on this. At the end of the day, you already see people actually saying, hey, I'm not watching for 2 weeks. I'm not tuning in for 2 weeks. And it's really bad news for the Mystics and the Sky because both of those teams move those games to big arenas. So it's like now that she's not playing, what is that attendance going to look like? The viewership, right? The viewership is going to plummet. I already know because majority of the people that's watching Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlyn Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlyn.
Angel Reese arrived with swagger, LSU star, viral personality, instant cultural figure. But along with the hype came controversy, trash talk, viral social moments, and a public persona built as much on bold statements as rebounds. That mix fueled her brand, and it made her a lightning rod in rooms filled with longtime pros and new stars.
Everybody was moving Caitlyn Clark games to bigger facilities because everyone was selling tickets. There were ratings. It was a ratings bonanza. Now with Caitlyn Clark not playing, what do? Well, when you change your situs, guess what? You can't change it back.
Yep.
All
the tickets are literally half the price, and there are entire sections of the stadium that have not sold any tickets.
Mid-season, reports say Chicago Sky imposed immediate discipline after comments made in league media. Multiple outlets reported a first-half suspension, followed by a team announcement that Reese would not play the second half because of an injury the club listed as a back issue. Fans, pundits, and rivals exploded online. Was this a discipline, a cover, or both?
2.2 million average viewers tuned in to watch Caitlyn Clark and the Fever take on the Liberty.
Peaking at 3.2 million viewers is crazy for the WNBA, even for the Fever.
Became the 6th most watched WNBA regular season or playoff.
Sources told outlets a players-only meeting happened. Veterans uncomfortable, supporters divided. Ariel Atkins and Rachel Bannum were reported to have publicly expressed frustration. Some teammates said they felt blindsided by public comments. This was more than a soundbite. It was an erosion of trust.
She came into the league last year with no break whatsoever between the college game and the pro game and did her thing. Ended up as an all-star, ended up being 4th in the league in MVP voting, was the clear winner for Rookie of the Year. No competition whatsoever in that regard when it was really all said and done. We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had.
Television ratings, higher attendance figures.
Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.